Hello viewers, you're welcome. It is my pleasure to welcome you to this lecture on the nitrogen cycle. The nitrogen cycle is a very complicated but very interesting cycle. It occurs both in water and also in land. The nitrogen cycle basically involves the various ways in which nitrogen is circulated in nature from the atmosphere to the biosphere and back to the atmosphere. It involves 5 stages. It involves nitrogen fixation, nitrification, assimilation, ammonification, and denitrification. Now, nitrogen fixation. Nitrogen fixation basically occurs through lightning. When lightning strikes, it splits water into hydrogen and hydroxyl ions and combines hydrogen with nitrogen to form ammonium. And the ammonium that's one process. The second process is the activity of free-living bacteria like Azotobacter species that are in the soil. Now, the Azotobacter species in the soil also combines atmospheric nitrogen to form ammonium. Then some bacteria in the root nodules of leguminous plants like groundnuts and other legumes, Rhizobium leguminosarum, are also able to convert nitrogen into ammonium. Then the next stage is nitrification. Nitrification basically is carried out by Nitrosomonas species and Nitrobacter species. Nitrosomonas species convert ammonium to nitrites, while Nitrobacter species converts nitrites to nitrates. And the nitrates are now available for plants to absorb. So the process of absorption of the nitrates is called assimilation. Plants assimilate the nitrates and use them to produce proteins to incorporate into their DNA and RNA, and also to incorporate into the chlorophyll. Animals obtain this nitrogen in form of plant protein by consuming plants. Now, when the plants and animals die, they are then broken down by microbial decomposition, and that brings us to the 4th stage, which is ammonification. Ammonification basically means the breakdown of nitrogen and the conversion of organic nitrogen into ammonium. This is now followed by denitrification. Some of the ammonium is converted back to nitrogen gas by Clostridium species. Clostridium species converts ammonium back to nitrogen gas, which is returned back to the atmosphere, and the cycle continues again. The same thing occurs in the aquatic ecosystem. Now, the aquatic nitrogen cycle also is being driven by lightning. When lightning strikes, it converts it splits water into hydrogen and hydroxyl ions, and eventually nitrogen combines with nitrogen combines with hydrogen to form ammonium. Then there are some bacteria in the water, cyanobacteria, that are also capable of nitrogen fixation. They are able to combine atmospheric nitrogen with water to form ammonium. The cyanobacteria provides this ammonium, which is then converted in the next stage called nitrification. Just as it is in the terrestrial ecosystem, nitrification is carried out by Nitrosomonas species and Nitrobacter species. Nitrosomonas species in the water converts ammonium to nitrites, while Nitrobacter species converts nitrites to nitrates, which are then absorbed by aquatic plants, by algae, and phytoplankton. These are in turn eaten by animals. And then when the animals and these plants, aquatic plants, the zooplanktons, then the phytoplanktons, the algae, and when all of these die, they are now broken down through a process known as ammonification, which is the 5th stage. And then some of the ammonia are now converted back to nitrogen gas by Clostridium species, and nitrogen is returned back to the atmosphere, which now returns nitrogen back to the atmosphere and makes it available to be ready to continue to repeat the nitrogen cycle. So that's basically how nitrogen cycle occurs, both in the terrestrial ecosystem and also in the freshwater ecosystem. Thanks for watching. I am Dr. Gijo Aibapri Hari.